So, 2023 was another huge year for No Man's Sky, and it gave us some incredible updates, including the Interceptor and the Echoes update. But perhaps one thing that may come as a surprise was the player count actually increased significantly after the release of Starfield, which sort of fell flat on its ass after being hyped up so much. But with 2024 shaping up to be another huge year for Hello Games and of course No Man's Sky, the question is it worth getting stuck into No Man's Sky in 2024? Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and find out. As we've come to expect with No Man's Sky, Hello Games released a bunch of major updates to the game in 2023. And of course, they're all free add-ons, and they brought us things like a new robotic species who go by the name of the autophage. Now, these were first new species additions to the game, well, since launch, I think. And with that, they brought us two new multi-tool types, the Atlantid and the Staff. Then we had the Interceptor update, which gave us a brand new ship type with some amazing designs, along with corrupted planets, corrupted sentinels, and a new jetpack. Now, these things are only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to 2023 updates, but does a successful and busy 2023 mean we're going to get more of the same in 2024? Well, we already know one thing that we'll be getting as part of an update this year, and that is a space station overhaul. Now, this is something I'm personally very excited about because the current space stations are a bit, well, bland. I mean, sure, we can see some outlaw stations which change things up a little bit, but the short teaser we got at the back end of 2023, which basically showed No Man's Sky history of updates along with this 2024 teaser, shows space stations are getting a huge overhaul. The actual game files of these new space stations were leaked well before this trailer came out, so we know we'll be getting updates for them at some point. Now, it didn't show us much of them, but it got me excited. I'll leave a few freeze frames of the new stations here for a few seconds so you can have a look at them. Feel free to pause the video and leave some comments about what you think these changes could be, beyond the look of them of course. Now, I suspect this space station update will be released in February, as that tends to be around the same time of year we get new updates. January seems a little bit too early, but it's also pretty much guaranteed there'll be other features to this update besides the space station overhaul. Now, what that is at the time of me recording this video is anyone's guess, but it could include new sections of the space station, new quests, new characters, new story missions, and all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments below what you want from this update. And that brings us on to what we can expect from the updates in 2024 for No Man's Sky. And now, aside from the space station update, we're going to see the rest would be pure speculation, as we don't actually have a clue what Hello Games have up their sleeves. Now, I will be doing a separate video on update speculation in the very near future, so make sure you're subscribed to my channel for that. But for now, it is highly likely we'll be getting a couple of major updates this year, as we have been doing since the launch of the game in 2016. Though I suspect we won't actually get as many, or at least they won't include as many features as previous years. And that's down to one major factor which I'll get into in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's go over the pros and cons of getting No Man's Sky in 2024. First up, I've got to mention the No Man's Sky community because it is probably one of the best gaming communities I've come across in my 20 odd years of video gaming, and it is still incredibly active. In fact, it got even bigger when Starfield was released, which wasn't exactly expected, but we can't complain, right? Everyone is super friendly and really willing to help you out if you're struggling with the game when you first start out. I'm going to put a shameless plug right here to my beginner guides playlist, which will help all of you with everything you need to know when you come across, I don't know, the first 20 or so hours of the game. Now, if you like exploring in games, then No Man's Sky is an absolute must, as it is probably the best exploration game out there right now, at least in my opinion. You've basically got an entire universe to explore with 18 quintillion planets to see in over 250 galaxies at your fingertips. What's not to love about that? And exploring the game is really rewarding because you'll come across some absolutely stunning planets with all sorts of weird and wonderful creatures inhabiting them. And then you've got the portal network in the game, which is perfect for if you use Reddit like I do. The No Man's Sky community on there posts coordinates to all sorts of weird and wonderful things like paradise planets, weird creatures, amazingly rare ships, and not to mention some of the amazing bases they have built. Again, another shameless plug to my amazing bases playlist. Some of those bases by other players are utterly ridiculous, and you should definitely check them out. Speaking of base building, that is also one of the best features of No Man's Sky, and you can create some truly epic bases or sculptures, so it's really easy to sink countless hours into that part of the game. My one hope for 2024 around base building is for them to add more base building parts. Like, it shouldn't be too difficult for them to do that, so here's hoping it's going to happen. Another aspect of No Man's Sky that you could sink many hundreds of hours into is ship hunting. You've got a whole host of amazing ships to hunt for these days, especially with the addition of the wide variety of interceptor ships. So, if that's up your street, you'll almost certainly love No Man's Sky. Now, space combat was fairly okay in No Man's Sky pre-2023, but in 2023 there have been updates to it, specifically around freighter battles, which added in a Star Wars-esque trench run on freighters, which was pretty cool. We can now fully destroy freighters and watch them explode into a bunch of pieces, which is a nice addition. It's not overly difficult, but if you're not too fussed when it comes to combat in a game like this, then it won't really be an issue, and you'll be able to enjoy what combat is involved in the game, including Sentinel combat, as that also got further updates last year, as well with the corrupted Sentinels. So it's a continuously evolving game and adding more fun at the same time. We also get weekend Nexus missions, which cycle through a bunch of different quests and objectives on a completely different planet. So, bit of variety there, and you can do these with other players if multiplayer is your vibe. And alongside these, multiple times a year, Hello Games release a new expedition, which take up a good amount of time and get you some awesome rewards. We also get to replay these a bunch of times around Christmas as well, which is a nice addition. These will appeal to those of you who enjoy super long quests, which can span hours while getting rewards along the way. It's how I got my awesome Royal Jetpack, which I've used for now, almost 2 years. Now, I'm missing a few rewards with them, but with them being replayable, I'll be able to grab them then and have fun doing so. So, overall, No Man's Sky is one hell of a beautiful game with so much to do, and if you're a VR player, it has full VR support, which I'm kind of tempted to try out myself because I've heard some amazing things from other No Man's Sky players. So, if you have a VR headset and you don't have No Man's Sky yet, you should 100% be checking it out on there. The Fractals update of 2023 added major enhancements to it as well. Now, that all sounds amazing, right? Well, it's not all bright skies and rainbows. There are, of course, a few flaws with No Man's Sky, as there is with all games really, and the first one is, it doesn't really provide any challenge whatsoever. Like, for example, it's super easy to make money, like, you can make literally millions of units in no time at all. The combat in the game is pretty straightforward as well. And whilst it has gotten more difficult in recent years through the updates, it still doesn't prove to be too difficult to dispatch whatever it is, whether that be a sentinel or a ship, or even a freighter. I get that No Man's Sky isn't designed to be a combat game, but if you do like combat, especially challenging combat, you're not really going to enjoy too much here. Another issue I've raised with the game a few times in the past is, whilst it's as wide as an ocean, or even a literal universe in terms of scale and things to do, it is as deep as a puddle. Like almost any aspect of the game, with the exception of perhaps base building, has hardly any depth to it. Once you've been playing that specific feature for a few hours, you've basically seen and done everything it has to offer. Now, of course, that puddle does get deeper with every update, but after over 7 years, there still isn't that much depth to the game beyond pure exploration and base building and perhaps ship hunting as well. Once you've played as many hours as I have, nothing surprises you anymore. You'll recognise most planets, most creatures, and pretty much all of the ships, so it can get a tad, repetitive after a while. Now, if you come into No Man's Sky looking for a multiplayer exploration game, then it's fairly limited beyond playing privately with your friends and then inviting them to your session. The only real other multiplayer side of the game, as I mentioned, is the Nexus missions, but even then, they don't take that long and they can be done by yourself. It's not a massive open world, or in this case universe multiplayer experience, but you can have fun if you invite a friend or two into your session. the chances of randomly coming across another player whilst out exploring is basically zero because the game is so damn big. But this is only a con for people who like multiplayer. I personally prefer playing on my own regardless, so it's not an issue for me. Now, this isn't a con, but it's still something you need to be wary of, and that is Hello Games' latest game, which goes by the name of Light No Fire, and I'm sure most, if not all of you, have heard of this. But why am I bringing this up in a No Man's Sky video, you may be wondering? Well, I believe this game is going to have an effect on the amount, or at the very least, the size of the updates that we get for No Man's Sky in 2024. Now, Hello Games are a fairly small team when you compare them to other game developers, and maintaining the usual update frequency and size is going to prove very difficult the closer Light No Fire gets to a release date. The reason being, a lot of their focus will be shifting to that, which means there'll be less people working on No Man's Sky. Now, of course, we will still get updates, but I'd probably expect less of them. It's already happening because if you think about it, the last major update to the game was the Echoes update, which was released in August of 2023. So we're about to hit 6 months without a major update to the game beyond patch fixes. And by No Man's Sky standards, that's rather a long time. But anyway, if you want my verdict, overall, No Man's Sky is one hell of a great game, and you can easily sink endless amounts of hours into it and have great fun at the same time. But it is slightly limited in depth beyond exploration, ship hunting, and base building. But if you love that sort of thing, you'll absolutely love the game. I would say overall, yes, No Man's Sky is definitely worth playing in 2024. And it will still be getting further updates for the foreseeable future. Now, if you're not convinced, why don't you wait for the game to go on sale around an update, which is possibly February 24, as the game usually goes half price. So get it then, you will not regret it, I promise you. And there you have it, folks. There is my review and recommendation to get No Man's Sky in 2024, because overall it's such a damn great game. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're still here, it would be totally awesome if you could support my channel by hitting those like and subscribe buttons. You can now also become a channel member as well, and as always, thank you for watching this video, and I shall catch you in the next one.